Greetings and welcome to our 101st test and measurement video. For today's demonstration, in a Tektronix MDO3000 Series Oscilloscope, we'll press the Acquire button on the front panel and see what that's all about. For a start, we need to display a signal so we can see how it responds as various menu items are selected. After powering up the instrument and pressing Default Setup and Menu Off, we'll display a sine wave accessed from the internal arbitrary function generator. To do this, with AFG out on the back panel, connected to the Channel 1 analog input on the front panel, press AFG. The default sine wave is displayed. In the information bar, we see the metrics. The frequency is 100.00 kilohertz, and the voltage is 500.00 millivolts peak to peak. That's just half a volt. Of course, the values can be easily adjusted by pressing the soft key associated with waveform settings, then turning multi-purpose knobs A and B, or better yet, using the keypad to enter values. Pressing the soft key associated with output settings, an interesting menu comes up. This permits the user to add noise to the displayed waveform. Just to make things interesting, we'll add 30% noise to the displayed waveform. This is enough distortion to cause the waveform to lose triggering. So with this signal displayed, we'll press the Acquire button, bringing up the horizontal acquisition menu. Beginning at the left, the first selection is Mode. Pressing the soft key brings up the vertical acquisition mode menu. The default acquisition mode is Sample. This is what the oscilloscope is doing most of the time. Sample mode retains the first sample point from each acquisition interval. Peak Detect mode uses the highest and lowest of all the samples contained in two consecutive acquisition intervals. This mode only works with real-time, non-interpolated sampling, and it is useful for catching high-frequency glitches. High-resolution mode calculates the average of all samples for each acquisition interval. Like Peak Detect, this mode only works with real-time, non-interpolated sampling. High-resolution mode provides a lower bandwidth waveform, and for this reason, it reduces the noise a slight amount. Envelope mode finds the highest and lowest record points over all acquisitions. Envelope mode uses Peak Detect for each individual acquisition. Average mode calculates the average value for each record point over a user-specified number of waveforms. Average uses sample mode for each individual acquisition. The number of waveforms that is averaged is selected by the user by turning multi-purpose knob A. The range is 2 to 512. Notice how effective average is in mitigating noise. That is because noise is a random phenomenon, whereas the observed waveform is periodic, and it is reinforced when averaging is performed. Record length may be set by pressing the appropriate soft key and turning multi-purpose knob A. The number of points that determine the record length is 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 5 million, or 10 million. This greatly affects the way the waveform is displayed. Fast ACK, when activated, causes the waveform to be displayed alternately in temperature, spectral, normal, or inverted modes, corresponding to frequency of occurrence. Pressing the soft key associated with delay allows it to be toggled on or off. Notice that when it is activated, the waveform shifts to the left along the x-axis, moving back in time. The horizontal position knob can be turned to increase or reduce the delay. Use the delay feature to acquire waveform detail that is separated from the trigger event by a significant time interval. When delay is set to off, the default condition, the expansion point is tied to the trigger point, so that the scale changes are centered about the trigger point. Pressing the soft key associated with waveform display brings up the vertical display menu. When dots only is toggled on, interpolation between the samples is disabled. The second soft key toggles persistence off and on. When persistence is toggled on, the display is more readable. Using multipurpose knob A, persistence time can be set in small increments, from 50 milliseconds to 10 seconds, and then infinite. In our next video, we'll demonstrate XY display as used to create Lissajous patterns. Thanks for watching. New videos are added periodically, so check back frequently.